Action.
Tonight we will be joined of one of the outstanding South Sudanese player. He played in the United States. Last year's season he finished. Good evening, everyone. We're back again. Our guest today join us in the studio, Mr. Mango. Mr. Mango, welcome back.
How you doing, man? Appreciate
Yeah. It's been quite a while when you went back to USA. So how you been? How you doing anyway?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
It's good to be back with the family and just coming back home, after a long year, long season. It's just good to be back with the people you love and people you trust and care about.
Mango, I think, just tell us a little bit about yourself. I think, before you moved to United States, when to play basketball over there, just how did you start? Tell us, a little bit history about that.
That I love more than basketball, but that was the number one thing that just kind of pushed me to the max.
Yeah. So when you when you were young and then when you started the basketball, who has a big impact or influence in your life, on basketball?
Well, the first person would have to be my brother. Always just wanted to be my brother.
So your brother is the first mentor to influence you to get to basketball.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Mango, we will jump in here straight, and then we're going to talk. We're gonna have a little bit about just the last season, So when you get injured, in the last season, and you've been away about 8 weeks, how did you go through those obstacles, or how did you do getting recovery, and how did you go through all this, because there is the feeling of kind of like you want to play, and you have that feeling, like when you get hurt in the field or in the court, sometimes you just want to play, you know what I mean, and you just want to get in quick. How did you go through the recovery?
Just like you said, once you get run through your mind, and one of the first things that runs through your mind is, I'm fine, I'm not hurt, I'm gonna keep playing. But the back of your mind, that you can't keep playing, and you gotta sit out. And with me, last summer was one of the biggest summers that I knew, just for me, was one of the biggest summers that I had to do, no matter work-wise, and just being focused, and just chasing my dream. I knew that I put in the work that I had to put in.
Because it's amazing. I think you finish with the school as well. So how did you cope with the situation of playing at the same time as finishing your degree? Mm-hmm. It's pretty good work. It's need a good effort to do that. So how did you cope with both situations? If you can,
not a lot of people would vouch for this or understand where I'm coming from, but at the same time, only athletes would understand. There's nobody in any type of field is more competitive than athletes, and athletes could basically juggle whatever they want to juggle to achieve their goals, or to make themselves happy and make people around them happy. And with me, one of my biggest goals that I had in my mind was to basically graduate, because I promised my mother that I was going to get my degree. And with basketball, in Australia, in the States, they say student athlete, and it's amazing because they say student first, then athlete. So it's tough at times. It's frustrating knowing that coach is in your ear telling you got to work harder, and you got your academic advisor in your ear saying, look, you got to pick up your grades. But growing up in high school, I wasn't really a big time student. I always took school second to every sport that I was doing. And when I went to college, you could say that growth came into play, and it was just like school got to come first, and you could always come back to sports whenever you wanted, and they balance each other's out. When you try to play in the NCAA, you can't play unless your grades are good, and for you to play, you got to have your grades up notch. And for me to have my grades up notch, I have to know, okay, now I'm going to play. Now I have to have my my basketball game up notch. So they just balance each other's out like yin and yang.
So that's great, but what is your next plan after this now? Like, we need a bit of update where you're gonna, go after you finish the college, at the same time, where you planning to go?
Well, right now I'm just basically fresh out of injury. Just keeping my body healthy is the number one thing, and already got my degree. But having one too many degrees is never a bad thing. So once I get back, I'm probably gonna sign myself another degree to just further myself and just basically challenge myself to another level. And like I've said last time, my goal is playing the NBA. And at this point in time, I'm only like one step away from being in that door. And right now, it's just basically just making my siblings and my family and my mom, proud of me. And even though they tell me every day, yo, we're proud of you, and you've came a long way, it's still that one little inch that I have to, get over. So I know, what I've done them proud.
Yeah, it's a great move, and you've worked hard, and I think you can be an example of young people and young Southern Sudanese people who actually, work hard, and, they have the determination to really do well. So, again, I think when you finish your degree, I think, how did you feel about this? You got, off the court for a while because you get injured, and at the same time you work hard, to achieve your degree. Describe your feeling. How did you feel really, about it?
It didn't really hit me till I came home. It was just like towards the end of exams and all of that, and I'm like rushing and all of this, and I had just been cleared to basically just get back on the court. And in the back of my mind, it's like, okay, I'm just now getting out of injury. I need to push harder on the court for me to, get back to 100%. But here comes, exams on the left shoulder saying, yo, you gotta hit the books, man. Like, forget basketball, you gotta hit the books, and basically you got a few more weeks for you to, graduate. And I did all of that, graduated, and it felt good to me. It's like, okay, I got one thing down, now I got to do another thing. But when I came home, it was just such a blessing and such a good thing to see. The first thing my mom was like, okay, yeah, you're injured and now you're getting back to the court, but just think about it, you already graduated. Like, you got one thing out of the way.
It's a very good feeling.
And that was
that's absolutely a success.
One of the best feelings ever. But, in life, you're never too high.
Yeah.
You feel me? There's always another step that you could take on the ladder, and right now it's like I gotta take another step to just go back to the States, start another degree, and just basically
keep working hard.
Fulfill.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
And just trying to find his own way of meeting other businessmen to just kind of push him to the next level. So it's just basically basketball. One of my mentors, just in basketball period, Luau Daniels, got the same background as I do, and just seeing what he's been through and what type of work that he had to put in for him to be in that situation, and just knowing that he comes down here every year to just kind of watch what we do as just a Sudanese community, and just for him to come all the way from his own busy life, because just playing the NBA takes a whole lot out of you, and just coming right after an 82 game series, and then he's got the playoffs, which he's playing in right now, for him to just come out of that and just come in and basically support us, it's something huge. And the first time I ever went to the United States, I went to Chicago, and that was basically where I resonated, and that's where I basically became an Australian basketball player into like an American style type of basketball. And it's a coincidence that I'm gonna take with me to the grave.
Yeah,
I'm an icon to all the South Sudanese kids, and basically trying to do my best to bring my country up to date, and just being that role model to every kid that's chasing the type of dream that I'm chasing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think you went well so far. That's what I believe. And just let's go back a bit. Come back to Australia here, and I think in Australia here, when you always come back, so do you visit your old club, Longhorn Club, and you still got friend over there?
Oh yeah. Now that you brought it up, actually, the first thing I do every time that I come back, I go to a little, we call it a rec center in the States, but here it's just like where we started playing domestic basketball, and it's called Rec West. And every time that I come straight from the airport, is it in the morning, if they got games going on, that's the first place I go to. And a lot of people is like, okay, you're a basketball player, you can't stay away from basketball, but it's just basically showing the younger kids like, okay, I just flew like a 24-hour flight, and I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but just landed, and I'm coming to basically support and see what type of talent we got, and just coming to show my face to the young kids. It just gives them that type of joy, saying, oh, one of our biggest brothers is here.
Yeah. If you could go back a little bit, and give yourself one piece of advice, when you are 18 years old, what would it be?
Watch what you do.
All right. If in a few words, if you want to give advice or to encourage the young Southern Sudanese who are coming up for basketball and who trying to make it and work hard as well, what your advice can be to those young Southern Sudanese?
It's obvious that everybody wants to be the best they could be. That's why everybody works hard. That's why some people wake up at like 4 a.m. to put in the work. That's why some people stay late night in the office instead of going home to their wives and kids. You're trying to be the best you could be, for people who are watching. But number one thing that I've learned is always look yourself in the mirror. A lot of kids nowadays, they want to be the LeBron James, they want to be the Steph Curry, they want to be the Kobe Bryant. But believe it or not, those guys looked at themselves in the mirror and said, look, this is what I do, and I'm going to just perfect that and move on and see what it could take me. You can't wake up out of nowhere yourself. You can't wake up and say, look, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and be as tall as Mango. That's impossible.
That's true. Though.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
But if you look yourself in the mirror, it's like, look, I'm me, I'm this height, I'm going to stick to what I do. Tomorrow what you're going to have to work on. Never, always work about the present, always. It's good to think about the future because it makes you work harder, but at the same time, the present is what is really relevant than the future.
Yeah. I think thanks a lot.